Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to today's video on the Sideline Scoop. So today I want to take a look at Devin Funchess and see if he can really be a factor on this Packers offense in the 2020 season. So for those of you who don't know, we signed Devin Funchess this offseason, I don't know, like a month ago about. And we signed him for only a $2.5 million contract, so not a very big contract. But if you guys don't know, last season he was injured. He injured himself, I think, in his first game playing for the Indianapolis Colts. He basically broke his collarbone. So he was basically out for the season from that point on. And so I just wanted to take a look at sort of how he performed in the years prior to his injury last season to see if, what can we really expect from him on this Packers offense in 2020? Because, of course, we have Devontae Adams as our number one wide receiver. But then with, besides that, there's not much certainty. Of course, we have Allen Lazard, who I think will be the Packers' number 2 receiver. But I'm not for sure about that. But that's sort of just my personal opinion. I personally think that he will really break through this season. I actually made a video about that, so I'll link that in the description if you want to check that out after this video. But I think that him and Lazard will be competing for the second spot, and I think it's still possible Funchess could be the number 2 receiver. But personally, I think it'll be Lazard and Funchess as a third receiver. But I guess we'll actually see how that all works out. But with Devin Funchess, if we take a look at sort of how he performed when he was on the Panthers from 2015 to the 2018 season, I think there's sort of a lot to like from how he performed. In 2015, when he came in his rookie season, he didn't really perform very well, but as a rookie, it's really hard for a receiver to stand out immediately, but he still did all right. He had, I think, something like 300 or 400 receiving yards in his first season. And then in 2016, if you look at his stats, he had 23 receptions for 371 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the reason that year he didn't really perform super well is because Kelvin Benjamin was still the main target on that Panthers offense. And so he was basically taking up a lot of the targets. And in that season, Cam Newton didn't really have a great year. He only completed passes 52% of the time, which is not really good. And he had yards per attempt were less than 7 for Cam Newton. So that year, Kelvin Benjamin took up a lot of those receptions, and Cam Newton wasn't really playing very well. So, of course, that would lead to Funchess not really producing much at that time. And then it was the 2017 season. That was really his best season, and I think that's sort of where he can look to see sort of what his potential is. Greg Olsen was on the team during that time, but he injured himself during that year. So Devin Funchess really had the opportunity to come in and really stand out among the receivers. And when he was given the opportunity with Cam Newton in 2017, he did perform very well and had one of his best seasons yet. He had, he had 63 receptions for 840 yards and 8 touchdowns. So a pretty solid year. And that was the year he played 16 games that entire season. So in that sort of environment where Devin Funchess was the guy and Cam Newton did pretty well that season, he really produced very well. And I think that looking at the past and looking at that season he had, I think that he can be a solid weapon on this Packers offense in the 2020 season. And then if you look at 2018 season, he had 49 receptions for 549 yards and 4 touchdowns that year. And the reason that he sort of dipped down in 2018 is that Christian McCaffrey came in and they had DJ Moore that year. And so they sort of had focused more on the passing attack to Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore. So Funchess didn't get as many targets as he did in the 2017 season. And in that year, Cam Newton really had trouble throwing the deep ball because he had a shoulder injury. So that definitely hurt Funchess as well. So I think that when we look at the Panthers, it wasn't just we can't just look at his stats because we have to look at the situation. So seeing where he was, sort of how Cam Newton was doing and dealing with in those years, we sort of need to look at that as well to see what we sort of can expect from Funchess in the 2020 season. And I think with Funchess, we can expect a lot when we look at those stats. I think that being with a better quarterback, being with Aaron Rodgers, who I believe is a much better passer than Cam Newton was, I think that Rodgers could definitely elevate Funchess' play in this upcoming season. And if we look in 2019, when he signed with the Colts, he signed a 1-year, $10 million deal, and then he hurt his collarbone. And so the fact that the Packers are getting Funchess for $2.5 million, I think it's really could be a bargain if he can continue to sort of be in the form that he was in the past, which I think is very possible. He just broke his collarbone, so I'm guessing if it's healed up, he can perform how he used to perform. And so the Packers will be getting, I think, a really good value if he does do well with that $2.5 million contract. And I think there's no reason to believe that we can't sort of see the guy that he used to be that season where he had 800 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he could definitely be a great threat on this team besides Devontae Adams and Allen Lazard. And one other thing that is sort of, I guess, good about him is he can be a very big red zone threat for this Packers offense because he's 6'4", 225 pounds. So he's a big guy. He can play lots of different positions, lots of different areas on the field. And I didn't really know about this, but when he was in college, it wasn't until his junior season that he actually switched to receiver. He actually played tight end until his junior year, and he was really good at Michigan as a tight end. And he actually broke the most receiving yards by a tight end at Michigan when he played tight end in I guess that was his sophomore season. So he can really be a big guy who can really stretch the field and just be a great weapon for Aaron Rodgers, I believe, at 6'4" and 225 pounds. So that's just another reason to like him in this upcoming season. So I think the Packers actually did get a pretty good value, only having to pay him $2.5 million in this season. I guess he can just really allow us to be a good passing offense this offseason. I know lots of people wish that we had picked a wide receiver in the draft, but I think he's going to be a good addition to this Packers offense. So that's basically all I wanted to share in this video. I think before I did the research for this video, I wasn't really sure what to expect from Funchess because I sort of had known he had been a pretty good player, not really an elite player, but sort of looking at where he was and sort of how he performed with Cam Newton, I really do have a lot of hope for how he can do with Aaron Rodgers, really an upgrade from the quarterback position. So that's going to be all for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button down below. But I mostly post about the Packers on this channel and fantasy football as well. So if you're into either of those things, feel free to subscribe. I would appreciate it. But if you watched this far, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you guys got some value from it, and I'll see you guys on the next video.